Thanks, guys. Ooh. Hello, my dear ones. Thank you, thank you. Got a new desk in here, and we're playing with it. So I could scoot down and do the Zooms, but we do have something coming that it's just one piece of equipment you look into, and the camera and everything's all tied to it, and they can do all kinds of cool things with it. I don't know. Pretty wild stuff as far as I'm concerned. But I wanted to wish you a good weekend this weekend and have some fun, relax, let go. Use the word freedom and stamp it across your forehead. I've always said the seeker of God, never finds God, right? And we know that because we know the seeker is eternally seeking that which he already is. And that's what's, I've told you experiences I've had where out-of-body traveling, and then, after a while, pretty soon I heard this voice going, who's the seeker? Or who's the traveler? You're traveling, yeah, but who's the one doing the traveling? And that's the whole point in creation. Creation is designed to pull your attention into it. That's what I've always said, that creation is consciousness's playground. So it's always seeking to occupy your attention. How strong are you to pull yourself into the present moment and not allow the mind and emotions to do that to you? Now, granted, there's a lot of up and downs, and just like health, very difficult to stay on a fruit diet for 2-3 years, let alone 10 or 20. One of our biggest problems, and I keep saying that, is procurement. We can't get that good fruit that long, that often. Now down here, it's the first time we got cherries the first time in the store the other day, mushy. And the bananas are already ripe and they're green. So the radiation that they're doing, these people are freaks. Freaks. So very important to dispel this germ theory and to wake up to reality of what's going on here on this planet, or gee, many Christmas, look at it right now. Pretty interesting. So I've always said, if you have to seek anything, right? If you have to seek anything, seek freedom from seeking. If you have to seek anything, seek freedom from seeking. It's difficult for some because, remember, many souls are here for the first time at this level. Many are definitely heavy into their journeys. And so you're going to see all those things, and you have to have humility with that, because this is creation. Everything is an individual, and everything is on its individual journey. And you can't judge any of that. That's part of how creation traps you, is judgment. Christianity always goes through judgment of others and all these things like this, and that's what you don't want to do. And you want to practice what you preach. Mm-hmm. So just relaxing and let things happen and watch, because this journey's already been mapped for you. Just sit back and watch it. It's pretty cool when you see the divine coming in and moving things around for you and taking you down this journey. It's an incredible experience there. So, always try to be free from all things, but enjoy all things. That doesn't mean, be the shamus de brise. No, I can't say that because there's not a lot of us like that, When it comes into spirituality, a lot of people are much more passive in that side. You've got the, Paul Twitchell's not a passive guy, even though it seems like some of the Eckmasters that he hung out with was a little bit. I don't know where to put Phoebe Quant. I don't know where to put that individual. But Shamus de Brise is Rumi's master. And if you get any sense about Shamus, it's powerful. Spirituality doesn't always have to be, bless you, dear one. Some souls are down here for a little more than that, and they're powerful beings, and so it's hard to judge all of that, you know it. So that's why you just have to get back into the present moment and not judge. You know, I talked a little bit about the herbs yesterday, I think yesterday or the day before in a video. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because I know that the scuttlebutt out there is that there's a lot of confusion. People are scared Western's going to change the formulas. And I get all that. I do. And I see the energy that comes out of Western. So the big thing about that is you realize Western is its own herb company, right? But they're also the lab, the manufacturing, which is really sweet. You know, there's nothing like being the manufacturer too, right? Because you can control things. If you're not greedy, you can control the quality of things and have top-notch products. And where in the world do you get top-notch products? That's some of the problems. Jensen had a line of supplements, and he sold them to a gentleman. And the gentleman kept the quality up there pretty good, and then the gentleman died, and the son took over and started cutting. You know, sometimes when you're looking at price per bottle, now remember, I started out a long time ago. I had health food stores in the early 70s, naturopathic at 74, biochemistry, then finished it up in 75. So I've had a chance to get into botanicals. It's a major course in naturopathy, but also I went to every herb school on the planet. I graduated from Dominion, Emerson. I didn't graduate from Emerson because I was just too busy. It's too busy to finish them. But there's a decent one in Australia. There's several herb schools all the way around. Dominion's probably one of your better ones in Canada. Pretty good one. Then you've got Dr. Christopher's. I have no problem with that one. You got an herb walk with it. So good stuff. Matter of fact, down in the Costa Rica, there's a gentleman that takes you out on herb walks and things, and we kind of want to get that set up with the school to where we can offer you guys journeys down into Costa Rica and go herb hunting. Fun stuff, wouldn't it? Yeah. You know, I never had a lot of opportunity like that because I'm working. I mean, I've got to work and try to have a clinic and pay for it while I'm working, because no one starts out with a bunch of bucks in the billfold. Matter of fact, I learned about herbs when I had the health food stores in the early 70s. It was coming through to me all the time about botanicals because I was a holistic thinker. When you come through the natural hygienic people, the fruitarian type of thinking, you're into holistic thinking. You're not about manufacturing. You're not about isolating the chemistry of whole foods and then giving it back to people in a quote-unquote deficiency theory. And a lot of that in the earlier years were deficiency theories, just like the germ theory and the disease theory. These are theories. And when you look at theories, sometimes they don't make any sense because they're just theories. They're an idea of somebody. You go back and look at the germ theory. Take a look at the tube. I think it was, what was it? Beecham, he was better, but you going back to Pasteur was heavy into that. Of course, he was heavily influenced with, J.P. Morgan and all the other boys. So, I mean, these people were in the same boys club. You know what I mean? But there was also Vercrow, I think it was. He was before even Pasteur. But I think it was Beecham that kind of made the shift away from in the outside world attacking the inside world and getting more focused with the condition of the inside world, promoting the movement of the outside world to come in. You know? There's bacterium for literally just about everything, funguses, and all types of microorganisms for things. And they're just like anything else. They're like the buzzards and owls and hawks and things like that. They're just hungry looking for food. And if you offer up food, well, what type of food would be the worst type of food you can imagine that the residues build up in your body? What's the worst food that you can imagine? There's two of them. Meats and dairy products. Though the chemistry from those things are putrefactive, and that's bacterium city. And when you plaster all this along the bowel wall with the starch included, you've got some interesting stuff going on there. And you can't bitch. When nature comes in and says, well, we're going to clean you up. Remember I told you about that hunter that shot the deer and they were filming all that? They all walked over to the deer cameraman and hell, nature already beat them there. Flies were already all around the deer. Nature responded that quickly. And that's what the process of inflammation is in your body. It's a process of defense. And it's a lot more than just a histamine and interleukin response. Add to that edemic responses, cholesterol responses, calcium responses, electrolyte responses, in other words, because you're dealing in a proton-rich environment, which is a destructive cationic environment. And as long as you create that environment with the type of food you're eating, then you're going to have the outside world going, yummy, 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 look at that. It's like that commercial for Twix or something. And the two guys or girls or whatever are sitting there and they're looking at the Twix going, yeah, this looks crunchy and delicious. And then you got the two bears sitting out there watching the two guys going, crunchy and delicious. I mean, you know, things are relative. I started using herbs as soon as I was a naturopath, but I also use supplements, vitamins and minerals, orthomoleculars. You know, that's kind of how you're raised a little bit. Even the naturopathic school I went to, as holistic as it was, you still had orthomolecular thinking out there, you know. So when this whole concept of disease and the battle that the natural health people have been in, and I've been in that battle. Remember, the state's coming. Remember, the state was just here again on me. But as long as you treat diseases, you're walking down the wrong path. You're working with the wrong theories, like the germ theory. As long as you think you need antibiotics and you need to kill the bacterium in your body, what happens? Ask yourself what happens when you destroy the bacteria in your lymph nodes. So I'll give you an equal analogy. You go out to your septic tank, if you have one at your house, and you destroy the bacteria in it. Would you do that? And what would happen if you do that? And this is why people that have been on antibiotics, particularly the sulfur variety, now you got two things to deal with. Now you got the fungal side of sulfur, and then you got the bacterial side of it. So here comes the antibiotics, destroying the bacterium that the body uses to clean itself, to bring down or bring up, however you look at it, the acid ratio from, say, around a 3 pH to a 6. Ask yourself if you would like to pee out Coke without any neutralization of the acid. How would you like to pee out Coke? Ever hold it in your mouth? So if you like to pee out Coke, then kill your bacteria in your body. And those people generally end up with RA. They end up with some type of systemic lupus, Lyme's, always. Always. And there's a different name depending whether you have sulfur involvement or whatever, but it's a tick. Yeah. So in the botanical world, the worst thing you can do, and herbology is full of it, is using botanicals or herbs to treat diseases. You're walking down that same highway of hell. And you're buying into that whole philosophy of diseases, and it'll get you nowhere. I mean, it is the truth that allopathy is now, well, it is now the number one. Before, it was either the number one, number two, number three killer of humans on the planet. Right now, today, with the pandemic and the vaccine, and the millions and millions of deaths, allopathy has finally set itself right up front, top of the line of killing people. And you're going to go to a medical doctor for relief? Maybe a good surgeon, yeah, I can get that one big time. But if you want to live in the world of diseases and have medical doctors treat them, good luck, fair warning. Take a look at the world out there. Take a look at these questions that I read. Been to 33 medical doctors. Worse also, she said, also I've been to 10 naturopaths. See, and that's the whole thing, is a lot of the health sciences, which are viably great sciences, bought into the disease. So look at massage therapy. That whole thing is based upon the lymphatic system in these A&P books, which are highly inaccurate and not even complete. But the whole theory and massage needs to come into the naturopathic world. Matter of fact, holistic needs to come in and be surrounded by the naturopathic world, because we're the true healers of the planet. Should be anyway. So a lot of naturopaths have to relearn what they're taught. I had a guy wanted to do some clinicals from Bastyr and Southwest. These are like medical naturopathic schools. Medical and naturopathic are two words that do not mix. And they're not supposed to mix. It's just when you get medical doctors that are killing so many people, let's just add naturopathy in here and we'll. Naturopathy doesn't kill people. So, I remember I had to sell my car. I had worked hard and saved up and finally got a Toyota Avalon. And I'm going, oh man, this is a nice car. Woo. I had to sell it to buy herbs. But we bought them in 5-gallon jugs, and then we poured them, each bottle, by hand, labeled them, put the label on, and then sealed them with a heat shrink and all of that. When you're in business, you're looking at the price of bottles, the price of labels, the price of droppers. You're looking at every little thing that costs you. Because as a lot of people don't realize, when you're in business, you have 1,000 things that cost money that you don't realize, right? And that has to be added into the equation. And I've always tried to keep my herb prices as low as I possibly could, but it also enough to pay everybody and make some money, you know. But I started out making these herbs for me in my clinic, not for anybody else. And then I had a chiropractor go, man, these are good. Yeah, can I have some? Can I buy some from you? And pretty soon I go, well, you know what? I definitely would like to make them for practitioners. So my second journey was to make them for practitioners, wholesalers, because those are your backbone. Your healers are your backbone when you have product sales, not stores. You can walk into a store and someone might buy one bottle of something. But when you're on a journey of health, you're on 8 or 9 formulas because you're working your organs and glands. And that's what herbalists need to realize, that herbs are not for diseases. That is stupid. But if you research herbs properly, you'll find they are for body parts. You've got herbs for the liver and the heart and you name it. Herbs for the ovaries, herbs for the uterus, herbs for the prostate, herbs for the brain. You got herbs for everything. You even have herbs for fluids. You got herbs for blood fluid. You got herbs that'll clean and move them both. You got herbs for the lymphatic system. You got herbs for everything. Not for diseases. Because the causative factors of man's suffering is much more simpler than autoimmune and gut, I don't know. Try bathing and looking at the chemistry you're living in. Now, there should be basic understanding of chemistry in grade school. Kind of like putting a hand on a lit burner on the stove. Don't do that anymore because you know what happens. Ow! Yeah! Well, guess what? That was an acid. An acid? Yeah. Now put your hand in the freezer. That's an alkali. You know, there's a lot of ways to teach your kids the truth and have it drummed in them and then relate it to the food you're eating. Pretty soon after a while, you'll get the picture. And then when you change the food you're eating, it'll also change the result. Oh my God. So, you know, we grew so fast that I was still seeing people, you know, till the very end of that. I kind of wanted to step back. I didn't want to retire because I've got tons of stuff to do. I have tons of stuff I want to bring out to you guys that I didn't have the luxury of that when I came along. I was alone in the woods, man. So I'm making charts for you. I've got all kinds of cool things coming out. And they're fun stuff, and you can show people. Like the milk one, I should have shown you some. We've got one on the milks, the different milks from a frugivore, the human, all the way to a lion and all that. Take a look at the chemistry. And when, you know, if you're going to argue that man's a carnivore, you better have all your facts straight, because we got them down, and we've got all kinds of, like I said, fun charts and stuff. Anyway, we got so busy it outgrew us faster than we could handle it. And all I can say that the company was very out of balance. There's just too many things going on, too many places, you know. It's just very, very difficult. So it was important, and we had offers to buy the brand. Just the brands all we sold was the brand, the herbs. And it took me a couple of years to go, no, I don't know. But when the lab asked me a couple of times, I'm thinking, well, what better person to buy these herbal formulas than the people that are making them for me? Doesn't that make sense? Yeah. So I think it's unwarranted if you think that Western is going to change the formulas. They do have an herbalist there, a young herbalist. I don't know much about the individual. It's enough to say that you have to learn. I'm 50 years teaching herbology, and you have to learn that herbs are for body parts and not diseases, and a little more about things, you know. But you can't fault that, because this is an herbalist, and I'm telling you, not too many people arise above their education. Most people are totally dictated, brainwashed, whatever you want to call it, into the curriculums they were studying, because that's what they were excited. They want to study, they want to learn about it. And they assume, when you put that attention, you assume, especially in a professional manner and a professional school like Harvard, that never would change study results. I mean, so you're in a world where you're responsible for the truth and learning the truth. So when you lock yourself down on information and education, you're locking yourself down on it. Sometimes it takes years and years of going through clinicals and working with people to wake up from that. And some never wake up from that because they don't care. The person that doesn't care, the physician that doesn't care, will never wake up from it. So when you see a medical doctor 20 years down the way doing the same thing, he doesn't care, she doesn't care. Because if you really care, it wouldn't take long in allopathy to go, you know what, this isn't working. I mean, we're helping people's symptoms, but geez, the cause here is, I don't know if I buy into the cause of this. Because it's repetitive. It's kind of like this guy I told you about. He did a video in his car during the pandemic. This big black guy, man, this guy was 6'5" or something, real good looking dude. But he was like a big medical doctor guy. I mean, he was, and he kept going. He went on and was talking about his children, patients. And he said, they're fine before they're vaccinated, but after they're vaccinated, that's when I see the ADD, ADHD, and he went on and on and on. Excuse me, Indian. Oh, what a great guy that guy is. Standing out there, or sitting out there in his car, filming this, trying to give truth to the world. These are the kind of people I love, and, like to see these kind of people start to get in more control of things, because Pretty gnarly. So I want you to relax and have confidence that these herbal formulas are going to be good and change. Some of you guys know my herbal formulas so well. It's unbelievable. I've said that before. When I change an herb in it, you guys go, "Why did you change this?" And but I would never change anything I wouldn't have to. And we always would let you know if we have to change anything, because sometimes, once in a blue moon, you're either over wildcrafted or in some way not producing enough of a particular herb. You're going to go low in it because you've got a lot of companies buying, around the world. False unicorn was extremely difficult, and yet false unicorn, geez, one of the better female herbs, kind of somewhat of a tonic for the uterus and ovaries. So, and that's what I look for. When I put a formula together, I'm looking at what I want that formula for and any side pieces that I can pick on it. So, in other words, if I'm going to go after the female part, I want a little boost to the adrenal glands, right? But you do have ovarian, estrogen, and progesterone, just like you do in the adrenal glands, but still, the adrenal bump there is important. So I think you can relax and rest assured that, and you will let me know if there isn't, because you will know immediately. But I would never buy a company with famous herbal formulas and then change them. They change the name on them, which you can think whatever you want with that one. But the quality of those herbs, you can't get them anywhere in the world. Why would you change something like that? So I think you can relax, take it easy, focus on your wellness, on your healing. Worcester's a good herb company. If things don't go, you'll know. And I've got attorneys watching everything, believe it or not. So it's all good. Yeah, it's been a long road, starting with the herbs like that and putting them together and then feeling my way through the formulas and which herb doesn't fit. And I'm a little on the psychic side, so I feel things. And so, yeah, an herb will tell me I don't want to be here, or I love everybody here. And that's what there's so much to thinking about a formula and putting together a formula, But on the other hand, there's so many incredible herbs out there. I could make formulas to hell freezes over. Well, hell couldn't freeze over. Well, maybe. But, did you catch Blind Frog Ranch Wednesday night? They found a little bit of gold already. I'm telling you, that is really wild. And they found those Indian beads, homemade glass Indian beads. 500, didn't he say several hundred years old at least? Man, it's getting good. And they said that people are polarized to leaving things at this one spot. They found the Indian beads. They found these it's good stuff. But that's creation, Hide and go seek. Hide and go seek. All right, so I'm going to catch up with just a few because Megan did put me quite a bit back on here. But this is the weekend, and I've got a ton of stuff to do. All right, this is a female, 13 years old, 5 foot, it says and inches, 100 pounds. Now remember the lady I was telling you about was in here, when was she in here? A couple days ago. At 13, she was 27 pounds. Pulled herself out of it. Advice for scoliosis, yeah, she had it too, big time. But someone else, okay, hi doc. Our 13-year-old daughter was just diagnosed with severe scoliosis. Because the curve is 60 degrees, they are pushing hard for spinal surgery. Surgery is something I just cannot do to her. The type of surgery is absolutely, I know. Yeah, and this same lady that was 27 pounds at 13, she's got 2 rods. One straight down, and somewhere in the T-spine, they left a little space so she could bend over. All I can say is I'm a man of regeneration. And I've never seen a scoliosis case not straighten themselves back, ever. Never have. Now, maybe you guys have worked on the case and they never have, but I never had it. And some of the worst cases. And not just the back. Remember, the legs as well. Everything pulls itself and refines itself. It's amazing. So you know there's a lot more to the foods and the herbs than just chemistry, right? Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know that. We are already plant and fruit eaters. Oh my God, that's good. But incorporate cooked foods from time to time. Get it? No big deal. Is there any hope you could give? Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Anything we could do? Because here's the thing. She's only 13, and if you don't fix it, what's next? Because this is not only the spine, but you can relate that to connective tissue. Go to the joints. I mean, this could be a lot of things. And I mean, all of this is kind of involved the same thing as that famous singer up in Canada. What's her name? But she's got that stiff thing. She can fix it. Turn into a rock. A lot of these kids turn into rocks now. What side of chemistry do you think does that? You think the alkaline side turns people into rocks? Keep dreaming. So, number one thing, you want to get a picture of her eyes. Oh, heck yeah. And send them in to me if you want, or take a look at them. What you're looking for is the pituitary connection to what? What's the first thing you're going to definitely assume? There's parathyroid issues. Definitely going to assume that, right? Heck yeah. So is it a parathyroid weakness in and of itself? I remember there's 4 of them. Or is it a pituitary problem, or both? And that's vital, because the first thing you want to do with this little girl is work on the endocrinology of her body, along with what? Kidneys, adrenals. You know, you're going to probably hitchhike, I would, a parathyroid glandular to that little one. We've got them down to like 10 or 15 milligrams. And then I would also use probably the endocrine gland formula 2 dropperfuls. Well, she's 13. Yeah, I would do 2 dropperfuls. What the heck? Now, I wouldn't have to do the pituitary if I did that. Or you could do the endocrine formula and do, say, 1 dropperful, and then do the pituitary a dropperful. But the 2 other things I would do with this girl is I would do circulation, start moving blood up in there, which will interface with the lymph, and brain and nerve. Oh, yeah. You want to strengthen while you're going to take this little girl on a journey. I would do 100% fruit, berries, and melons if you can get away with it. If you're going to deviate, then you want to deviate with greens, like the Muscle by Nature or the Superfood Complex. You're going to want to do that, because just go to that toe on drmorse.tv and you'll see it was just a hanging piece of skin, right? So the bone, the nerve, the skin, the muscle, everything got rebuilt just on fruits. When I say just on fruits, there was the herbs with it. And they're not fruit. A lot of them are berries, but some are vegetables. Basically, herbs are vegetables. So I would be doing that all together. I'd have her on 1 kidney formula, an endocrine gland formula. I would hitchhike a parathyroid, probably a low, like 10 or 15 milligrams. The circulation, brain and nerve, liver, gallbladder, you might have a chance to just stick a little on that end, but take a look at her eyes and see what's cooking. You don't want to overdo the herbs with her. She's only 13, but if you can get her to do the diet and you're going after her endocrinology, you're going after her lymphatic system, that pretty much covers everything, believe it or not. Because where does the lymphatic system not run? I don't know. Just, I think the same question is, where does the blood not flow? See what I mean? You have to have kitchen, bathroom. You have to have nutrition or energy, let's call it, because the nutrition's a bad word. And then over here, you've got to remove waste. That's so hard to get. But you really want to go after this. If you want to send me the eyes, we'll talk about it on the air here and see what we can see in her little eyes there. But you know that the endocrinology is off, for sure. And the parathyroid and possibly the pituitary is. You look at her sleep habits. Is her sleep habits a problem? Then you're going to go, right beside the pituitary is what? The pineal gland. Well, then we know we have problems here. Where else will you find problems each and every time? The gut, the transverse colon, where all of this is kind of coming out of in the embryonic stages. So it just, everything is so tied together. That's why you can't just work on one thing herbal-wise and another thing herbal-wise. No. Focus and hit these places all together, and you're going to get a kinetic movement in the body. But people that just take one herb for this or one herb for that, good luck. I mean, you can. Who is this from? The herbal ash pot. You guys are bad. I would like to know what can be done to reduce heavy breaths. Ooh, like you don't mean full of fibroids, do you? Fibrocystic breasts? Jesus. No one in my family have them on both sides except my sister and I. Are they just really dense? Or because when you start seeing density there, you start seeing fibroids or fibrocystic type things. You start seeing heavy lymphatic problems. Did you get a picture of your eyes and take a look at your chest area on both sides? See that middle part there, what the breast area looks like, and the feed from the bowel? Because for the feed from the bowel, you can have a chronic lymphatic feed into those breasts from the colon. So you really want to look at that, because that's why we go after the GI. There's a hub of the body. We're always going after the GI tract. If you want to detox anything, you want to detox the gut. But detox is just a word that comes out of hydration. It's a word that springs out of the word anionic, electrical, electrolyte, all of those sort of things. You know? But same thing, I want to get my kidneys going and get my lymphatic system moving and make sure anything here is not stuck up, because I don't like it when what you're saying here in the heavy breast syndrome. And you could have that. Your mama might not, but that mom might be like this, and you're the lucky ones, right? The offsprings. Because remember, each generation is weaker than the one before it. And generally by the time, because your mama didn't have you the day she was born. No, she had to mature and go through all life and get to the age where she could have you, right? But what did she eat? What did she do during that period to improve her genetic path or to deepen it and make her lymphatic system worse? And in most cases, people are not aware of the things you guys are aware of, and they're going downhill to Hellville instead of uphill to Wellville. So you just want to, both of you and your sister really want to hit a fruit diet if you can, fruits, berries, and melons, and I would take it very seriously. I mean, some of the stuff we get in here, I show you guys pictures so you know it's beyond gnarly. It's get you sometimes, It's like, holy crap. How can things get so bad? But acids will destroy you. And when you've seen enough of what acids can do, pretty soon, it's like, really? You want to play the disease game? Oh, God, here we go. Yeah, and don't have surgery, because what does that get you? You just have to reduce them or cut them? No. It definitely is fat. Okay, so if it's lipids, same problem. All right? Ask yourself what lipids are doing in your body. Does the blood suck up lipids and you have a heavy lipid count in your blood? No way. Why not? What would happen to the viscosity or the ability of the blood to move around the body if it was oil rich? Right. Slow it way down. But what system is oil rich? Yes. And so when you see lipomas, you see heavy fat accumulating, you have acidosis in those tissues. Now, it's possible because of genetic weaknesses that this could be just a heavy area for you and nowhere else in the body. But take a look at your iris and see what those areas look like. But whenever you see lipomas and lipids building up, you have a stagnation of lymph going on. And therefore you end up with a stagnation of fats going on. I mean, it's just one thing chasing another in chemistry. But once you get it, then you go, oh, I get it. You know, my body's too acidic and I'm packing on the fats. The lipids. And what's the surgery do for you? Yeah, doesn't fix that problem. I feel nervous to take pituitary tincture because it may stimulate more growth. Yeah, I probably wouldn't take the pituitary. Oh, yeah, big breasts, big boobs. You know, that's another thing. If you're too, but you know, it just depends. Your height, you got to look at everything and see how that is. Our female reproductive form, when I first came out with that, we started getting all these calls, and we introduced it more in Portugal than here first. And I got all these calls, and my women were complaining their breasts were getting bigger. And I'm going, I think they're just firming. But I always thought any woman that's undersized, once you fix the adrenals, the pituitary and everything, there should be a growth to those. They're just like a male, you know what, certain herbs can make that thing grow a little bit. I don't need that. Not too big, but that's part of the problems. Firming is one thing, but when you're stimulating growth, that's another, and that's what we wouldn't want. I don't know how old you are, but I would be going, you know. But always remember muscle testing. Always remember muscle testing, because if that pituitary is going to do that, you'll go like that. Oh, I can't. You know. Always muscle test. And for some of you, if you're afraid of glandulars, always muscle test them, you know, and see. But remember, glandulars are short-term uses. Short-term stimulants, in my opinion, to wake up any stem cell or any cells related to that tissue. You know, with a standard process, and chiropractors can keep people on those for years. And it's like, no. Because some of you have seen it already, that at first an adrenal will go, yeah, and then you'll get more tired taking it. Yeah, you reach the energetic max. Nope, get rid of it. Nope, not take it right now. Set it to the side. You know, because you'll start getting tired and you'll blame the program, and really it's just the body reacting vibrationally to that which you're consuming. I remember a video years ago, you talked about the kidneys possibly producing something called a stilbestrol that grows breasts. No, stilbestrol, the old growth hormone. You know, I love you. You're bringing out things I don't even remember, but stilbestrol, oh, heck yeah. I was heavy into that back then, and now I can't even remember why I was talking about it. Should I just detox without taking pituitary and endocrine glands? You know, you could. But again, muscle test. There's not a lot of pituitary in the endocrine gland formula. There's a little bit of everything. But then again, we don't know what all herbs or berries in particular can enhance the function of the pituitary. And you could have been hyper at one time and now hypo. It just could have been localized. You know, God, you just never know, because each of these glands we have they have different parts in them. So this part produces this. It's kind of like your adrenals. You have the cortex and the medulla. So you got your neurotransmitters in one area and your corticosteroids in another. So you have, you just have different parts producing different things. So the lymphatic system can be agglomerated in one part of a gland and not in another, and therefore you wouldn't suspect perhaps that. But adding on top of all that is the pituitary influence. Oh, stilbestrol. No, you know what that was? I just now remembered. The medical doctors were giving stilbestrol to men after they for prostate cancers, and it made my dad grow breasts like a woman. I remember that now, and I was trying to remember, why did they give him stilbestrol for? It would have to be a steroid of some sort that is an anti-inflammatory, but I don't know if they know that much, so I don't know. But it did. It made my dad grow. So yeah, I would. But I think that was something that a pharmaceutical gave him as an addition to. But I don't know. I'm getting older, guys. The years are piling on. Shoo-wee. And some of you have been so loyal and loving. I just love you guys. There's a lot of good information, though, that I've collected all these years, and sometimes I forget to give them out. It's like the watermelon. I've talked about it before, but that's videos years ago, and I don't know if YouTube destroyed a lot of my videos. They destroyed about, I think, 100 or more way back when. You know, I've had 2 times I've gotten attorneys after them, but this time, you know, you want to be crooks and you want to block the truth. You're only hurting yourselves. Now there's other platforms, and people are going to be going on YouTube. You know, you only hurt yourselves. Sylvia, female, United States, 53 years young, 5'7", 250 pounds. So we know immediately this individual's got to lose a little weight. But what do we got going here? What is it that makes things so weight intensive? What gland could I point to right off when someone has have a hard time fighting weight? There's 2 of them. Now I know immediately you're going to go, thyroid. Where's the other one? Adrenal glands, sugar metabolism. So you've got adrenal gland thoughts, so kidney and adrenals, and then you also have thyroid issues, you know. And of course, I saw a lady the other day, she was perfectly shaped here, but when it come to her hips, she was way out there. When you look at that, you're going, whoa. You know, that reminds you of the 1900 genetics of the females, where they had the big bottoms. So it's interesting just to see how the whole pull of genetics and all that, I don't know. And I don't know where you can go, how far you can go with that when you're on an all-fruit diet, fruit, berries, and melons and that sort of thing, how far you can go down that road of realigning your human body. I've seen what I've seen and just freaked me out. I couldn't believe that the power of nature could do that. Had, you know, realign the body by itself, pull everything straight, and of course it can. Why would I assume it couldn't? Yeah, because I'm a victim of, like everybody else, a society that believes in diseases and nowhere man. Heart issue. I have an enlarged heart. What advice do you have for me to reverse it? It's plain and simple. Get your kidneys a filtering. Big time. Make sure you got sediment in that urine, because you got to get your lymphatic system moving, sweetheart. Now, I also work on this gut. Work on the GI tract with GI Renew or GI Broom, and start opening up and healing this gut, because mid-descending is your heart area, right? So mid-descending right here is where you can have some bowel problems as well, because you're always going to have lymphatic problems in the gut. I don't know why that is, but rarely we see a very thin malabsorption line in the gut wall. Mostly people have a pretty thick one. So you could take the heart formula, but that's just to strengthen and to make strong the heart. Might not be a bad idea since you have edema in the heart area, and of course your pulmonary is right there. Yay. So for sure. And another thing you could take is the lung formula. Definitely. Even though you might not know the relationship there, I would. You know, start breaking up the sputum and the mucus in the lungs. It'll also break it up in the sinuses and stuff like that. And in my opinion, they also have a beneficial effect on hardened lymph nodes, especially mullein and fenugreek. Pleurisy root and fenugreek more than mullein actually, but then mullein's well known for that. But more as an anti-inflammatory. That you got all kinds of great herbs for the lungs, and I don't use a lot of them. There's horehound, there's all kinds of things for the lungs, but you know, I've got the ones I love. And again, you don't want to break up things too fast. That's not wise. You can choke to death. And that's the trouble you might have, you healers with quads and paraplegics. Be real careful because they don't have the muscle power to expectorate all this sputum that's breaking up. Highly advise, if you have a serious quad, that you and you have a caregiver and you have people have a suction machine. I'm sure they can get one under their care, and you want to have a suction machine by them. And go on down that road, because I've told you a couple of cases that didn't, tough cases. They ended in the hospital. They killed her in the hospital, and that thing. We had to rent our own suction machine and saved her life and pull her out of that. But hospital would have killed her right off. Did. Twice she died, and then they sent her to another hospital to die. Really? That was amazing. I told him, I warned him. That's why. You forgive me, but I don't have a lot of respect for medical doctors because I've had 50 years of interfacing with them calling me every name under the book, and them not knowing what the hell they're talking about. So forgive me for that. And I apologize to medical doctors for that as well. But you've got, you've got stagnation of the lymphatic system in the heart. Well, that means to me that you got an issue on the bowel wall, and of course you have an issue in the lymphatic system. That's going to be the left kidney, but you're going to work on all your kidneys, both kidneys. Get yourself sweating. Open your body up. And this is something now. Listen to this. You don't want to juice. I wouldn't overdrink water. Sip. And the problem with water is you want electrons. This is the time that you want to hydrate. And yeah, you can get mineral water, but you really want some really electrical water. Fruit juice, grape juice, orange juice. Problem. She's holding water because she's too acidic. Giving her more liquids will only make her hold more, which could throw her into. And I think I told you the case where a medical doctor ordered this a patient of mine that was advanced ALS, 500 cc's or whatever of water every hour or something. He drowned her. Thought she suffered enough and drowned her. I had no idea that you could do that at that time. That was 20, 30 years ago. Learned there. Killed her. Oh, shit. Man. So, yeah, you definitely want to get those kidneys filtering and get your body alkalized, hydrated. But it has to be balanced, guys. Remember that. Got to be balanced sometimes. When people are holding water, especially in a lung cancer case, they'll start filling up. Well, then they want to spray the inner lining with Teflon or whatever it is, that syndrome. No. You can stop the lungs from filling up if you get the lymphatic system moving. Done it over and over and over. Matter of fact, a young man in Canada I helped over and over again, and then he ratted back on me. What is that, Jonathan or something? I helped you through a lot of tough cases, broski. It's not smart to go back on someone that helps you and then treat you good. But anyway, you got to get them out of being edemic. Number one, that's getting the kidneys and the adrenal glands opened up. Prima facie, and getting the skin to sweat. You want to get all this out, but it requires hydration, but balanced hydration. Because when you start getting edemic, you're in trouble. You might not realize it, but you're in trouble. When your body starts holding water around the heart and the lungs, even Christ, and the ascites down here, that's when you're really in trouble. And you got to take these things seriously. So I would be right on a grape diet. Start opening up those kidneys, get the kidney herbs. I probably would use circulation just to keep my blood moving really good around the body. But my focus is lymphatic. Okay? I'm going to have to go here in a minute so we can get this out to you for the weekend. This is Robin Sellers, female, United States, 64. 5 foot 10 inches, 120 pounds. It's a lot different, isn't it? Poor sleep and occasional sadness and spine discomfort. I hate sadness, don't you? A lot of things to be sad over in this world. Gee, many Christmas, take a look. I mean, where's the happy things? Where's anybody being happy and loving each other? Everybody's cutting each other. Oh, we want you dead! Kill them! The hell is that? That's the negative forces, and you've got to be strong right now and be awake right now and watch your mind and emotions, because they'll be used right now more than ever before, and not by yourself. You know, these are embodiments that you have taken on. And when your attention is so locked through the physical shell, people can take advantage of you not being awake in the other bodies as well. You know, you can have entities sit in on you very easily. And if you don't believe me, okay, but I've been trying to follow the advice of Anthony Williams, medical medium, for over a year now, with drinking lemon water first in the morning, then fresh celery juice, and then followed by a heavy metal detox shake or a pea protein and B well powdered greens shake with berries, apple, spinach, bananas, tri-sprouts. That crap doesn't even go together. That crap doesn't even digest together. You know, these people, you know, I don't care if you call yourself a medical medium or intuitive or, who cares? The truth is truth is truth is truth. If you want to play a medium, go right ahead, but it's better to be the knower instead of the, oh yeah, let me be the medium. Let me get a sense of where you... So all the things you're taking there, they don't all go together, honey. So be careful about mixing them, because you're going to get gas, and then you get incomplete digestion, and then why you're taking them in the first place. I still eat some chicken, turkey, and seafood. Okay? And I try to buy gluten-free waffles, bread, pasta, but eat regular also. I do eat a lot of fruit. How do you have a time to eat all the fruit when you're eating chicken, turkey, seafood, pasta, bread, waffles? Want to feel more energy and happiness. I look better overall with strength. Your recommendations would be really appreciated. Well, my recommendations is simple. Take a look at your body a little differently. Take a look at your body lymphatically. And again, we've been talking about the pituitary gland, and that relationship will scoot over or scoot back and down. You're in the pineal gland, the tishritil, the third eye. All right, so the pineal is your melatonin gland, right? That's where you have nice rest and comfort, good meditations and stuff. But all this is kind of in the animation lifeline, if you notice, in iridology, which is the main frame of the brain, man, hypothalamus. And so, but what is all this made of in the physical side? Cells and two fluids. Oh. Pineal gland, what's that made of? Oh, cells and two fluids. Oh, here we go. Going down that same road, right? So that's why you don't have to get all freaked out. You've got to work on one main system, and that is your lymphatic system. And it reaches up and cleans the brain and everything else. But we were talking about transverse colons earlier in relationship with pituitaries. And I will say that redundantly in relationship to pineal glands. You have to, get up in there and regenerate. Well, how do you regenerate cells and from genetics and all this? It seems ominous and oh my God, and that's it. Oh my God. You have to learn how creation is put together. That's why my school teaches you from the Godhead down, not necessarily from the physical looking up. I try to teach you a better way of perspective. Changing your perspective can make your whole life incredible. Incredible. You talk about happiness, you're always happy. Take my arm, I'm always happy. I don't care. Because I know who I am and where I come from. And that is one incredible experience. And each and every one of you are here too. You're just looking into creation too strongly. Withdraw some of this, and you will see. So my advice is going to be a little different than Anthony's. My advice is going to get on a raw food diet, get off the animal products and all that crap, get on a raw food diet, because you're going to be into regeneration, right? Because when you're coming into endocrinology, you're coming into the body in any way, you got cells or you're going after the fluids. Which is it? Like liver. What are you going to do with the liver? It's a chemical factory. How are you going to detox the liver? What's the liver made of? Oh, a bunch of cells and two fluids. Oh, crap, this is getting too easy. Okay, so what's the ovaries made of? Oh, a bunch of cells and two fluids. Colon. Oh, a bunch of cells and two fluids. Dang, I got to find something to get you guys on. It becomes redundantly simple. And when you apply the laws of nature to all of this and understand the vertebrae that the Homo sapien body is, and you understand all that, and you go back to that, and so you're not eating you're not living to eat, you're eating to live. And you have to change. Some of you have to change that. You're not here just to eat and enjoy yourself. Now you're eating to survive, to keep the physical form here. Physical form just can't take a billy goat mentality, eat anything and everything you want. This is about what you said here. If you look at what you said, I have plenty of fruit, win. When you look at all this other stuff you're on, and then he's got you on mixes that just don't mix. You don't ever mix fruits and vegetables. You don't mix fruit with anything. Just like melons. Eat melons alone or leave them alone. Yeah, if you don't want to have, and the more sensitive you get, like me, oh no. I do not mix wrong, or the price I pay is beyond, severe pain. I don't play that game anymore. I let everything digest properly and in order. So you're on way too many things, honey, to fix yourself. And you want to get off of all this. Get on a 100% raw food diet. If you have to have a salad at lunch, okay. But get on fruit in the morning, fruit at night. Remember what you're going after. Now, could it be, since we have a physical body here, and these grapes over here have a physical body. Now, to get here, I had to first take on an emotional astral body. You think those grapes had to do the same thing? Maybe the grapes just came from the tops of heaven and then bypassed all the other realms to get here, and they just came. No, they didn't. So everything that's here in the physical world had to come through the creation zone, so to speak. Remember that one? Consciousness. This is all, this is in the world. I've got a new chart coming. It's going to show it even better than this one. Whoops, a lot of reflection there. But consciousness is everywhere. This is in the body of consciousness. So you got your mental worlds, you got your etheric, the id, your individualization. You've got the causal, which is your main mind. That is your past and your future. Catch it, everything's there. You got your emotional worlds, you got your physical body. So when you come down out of consciousness, is looking down in through here, through the physical body, through the id. It individualizes this consciousness through the id. Now it's you, the individual. That's the I am faith. Remember the I am. Then you come down. Now you're getting into the mental worlds. Now you're getting into more duality. Now there is more separation, and you're losing the sense. When you hit the orange, you lose the sense of this oneness. And now you're seeing everything individually and separate. The mind and all of that categorizes. And now you have the main computer that creates everything you see from down below. Remember I told you about the lady that breathed and sought orange. The power orange, mathematics. That's where all mathematics come from. Right up here is the 1,000-petal lotus. Everything comes down this way. All your fruits, all your vegetables, all your plants, your trees, your animals, your microorganisms. those things too. Yeah. And the little gnomes and divas of the land. Any of you been over to Findhorn? I would really like to go over there someday. It's been so many years, I'm wondering how that thing is. So get off all that, and I would highly recommend you take a glandular for the pineal gland. I don't know of anything other than circulation herbal-wise, and then all the endocrine gland, all the endocrinology herbs. Then, yeah. But, you know, just because you're hurting like that's been a while, I would take one bottle of the pineal glandular. But since we're talking pineal, what would a good practitioner do? I'd be looking right next door. If she came into my office, I'd be going, yeah, I see that. I see your pineal there. I've got your eyes right here. Take a look what's next door. Oh, the pituitary. You didn't know you had a pituitary problem? And go down that road. And then take a look at the other endocrine gland. Look at the parathyroids and the thyroid gland. And then take a look at the adrenals. You'll start looking around at those endocrine glands, but also her stats or his stats. The blood pressures and stuff like that. If they got any blood work or anything, you can take a peekaboo. But remember, all that are symptoms or side effects of the cause. And the cause is always in chemistry, physically. But we can go, if you want to go the other way, what really is the problem? And when we start shifting your point of view, these are states of consciousness you're in. And each state of consciousness has certain levels to it. There's certain levels where I came from that people lived out in the woods in mobile homes, and they had kid toys, and cars were up on blocks and things like that. Now, I know what some of the comedians say about that, but that I come from a place like that. Then you had others that had nicer homes, but you had others that had this, you had that, and that, and that. So if you're a people person, the one thing you realize is everybody's at a different level. We need to have some harmonious levels, though, to have a society that works. But if you push that too far into socialism, now the negative forces have got you by the throat, and it says, come here, you will obey. Like the Christian marriage, you will obey, woman. What? So there's some things got to change in the world to allow people the freedom of their individual expression. And you always want to keep your freedom of your individual expression and learn how to express from a much higher understanding of truth. Well, how can you have a higher understanding of truth when right now the universities are going to hell in a handbasket? Take a look. Take a look at Harvard, Stanford. Take a look at how they're cheating. They're having all these protests of people wanting to kill other people. I mean, it's insanity. The education department now is all falling apart in front of everybody's eyes. Good. Maybe people will learn that education is not the end-all. Academics is not the end-all. Your awareness supersedes your mind. Awareness created the mind. So if you want to play with the mind, have at it. But I want to get this out to you. Yeah, this is John. Hey, John. 31-year-old young man, 5'8", 173 pounds. Looking pretty good, John. Moving lymph. He says, hi, Dr. Morse. My question is that do workouts like pull-ups and lift some weights help with moving the lymph system and detoxifying? But a little bit. You have to weigh what you're producing to what you're eliminating. All right? It's that old saying, close your ears, crap in, crap out. But you really, really want to understand that if you're in the negative in elimination, you're going to feel it. One way or another or in time, yeah. Might not be right off. You've got miles and miles, and you got all kinds of things. It depends on the condition of the trabecula, your genetic weaknesses or strengths within these areas. Some of these strong genetic people can go on and go on with these bad habits, and you see it. Kissinger freaking died at 100. Look at that guy. Didn't look like he had a piece of raw food once in his life ever. And he lived to be 100. Damn. People like that don't do physical labor much. People that do, us guys that do a lot of physical labor, it'll get you after years of that, as opposed to people that just don't do any physical labor. That's right. I wish I could have traded some of my life for a musician. Then I wouldn't have had so much physical labor. Oh my God. But yeah, you have to weigh that, and the more you're hydrated and filtering, the more you're going to find that. Wait a minute, I'm not only doing more, I'm doing heavier, but I'm not getting tired. I'm doing more. I'm doing more. It was, don't quote me, I was thinking it was Stanford. This is going back in the 70s. Excuse me. They did I don't know what this study was about. It was, they took a cross-section of dieters. They took athletes in training with the heavy meat eating. They took, I think they had a natural hygienist, raw foodist. I do believe they had a fruitarian, vegetarian, lacto-vegetarian. They had all these different levels. And they did, I think it was 44 athletic modules, from deep knee bends, chin-ups, everything like that. And when I was looking at this study, I'm going, holy crap! And I wish, my office is just so full of papers. I mean, my library, I couldn't even sit there and go through them in a year. So I don't know where this is, but this goes way back when I was first practicing, so to have that would be but there was this study done, and if I remember right, it was like deep knee bends where, let's say the athlete did, 75, the vegetarian only did about 50, that sort of thing. When you got up to the fruitarian, you were up in the hundreds. And it was like, wow. And that was in every module. They were excelling in every way. And it's just amazing. So I think that you're going to, as you remove the obstructions to the flow of blood, nerve, and lymph, John, you're going to really feel unlimited endurance. And this is when it gets really good. I'm telling you, when you can just push it past that point, you're going to get up and you're going to go, whoa, whoa. I mean, I've had every level. I had a female, she worked for a dentist, and the dentist thought she was going to die. She had put down the adrenals, crashed. I thought she was too. The lady just had to, I can't even talk. So she put herself in bed, and we didn't hear from her for a couple months. And I thought, oh my God, I need to check on her, because you can't, it's too much. And so we called her up, and she said, oh. And I'm going, what? She said, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going, what? She goes, it was a couple of days later. She said, this energy came into me, and I heard client after client after client tell me this. Energy came into me. She said, I didn't know where it's coming from. She says, I have so much energy right now. She said, I don't know what to do with it. And I said, yeah, baby. And you didn't think you could lift your head up. And that's what I mean in detox. You got to be smart, but at the same time, you've got to know that you're going to go through some things in detox. I don't care who you are. When you hydrate, detox might be a bad word for some, okay? So when you hydrate yourself, you're going to expect to see some stuff coming out of you. Mucus is the number one thing you're going to see, but you're going to have acids come out of you. They're going to either come out the skin. So I've always said this. Your automobile here is going in the shop. And you're going to start working on it. You're malabsorbed. You're not stacking on fat so you fill out. You're going to see exactly how malabsorbed you really are. Because you're eating all the living foods. You're eating all the nutrition. Why are you losing weight? Why are you going down if you're eating the best foods on the planet? And that is what detoxification is. Your body is going to clean itself up. You told it to. You gave it the chemistry that says, yeah, baby, okay. All right, move over. And then here comes the mucus, here comes the splinters, here comes the shrapnel. Whatever you got in you is going to wiggle its way out. Everything's going to straighten itself up. You're going to see the resurrection of your physical form. But remember that all you're eating also has these other levels. So you're regenerating yourself on all these other levels too. Pretty cool? Pretty cool. So just, watch that. But as you get more and more filtration, you're going to be more and more workouts without a minus, without a little carrying a little more acid than you would like. Because if you're going to work out and do exercise, make sure that you're eliminating. Or when you start, if you're not and you're exercising, when you start feeling your joints, I would recommend you back off. Love you guys. Thanks so much, and have a fun weekend this weekend. I'm going home, put my feet up, and start working on the chapters of the fruit book, because she's only going to be here in a couple of weeks. We got a lot of filming to do. Holy crap. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.